The Galactic Defense Council meeting hall buzzed with the usual mixture of languages, clicking and harmonic vibrations that passed for conversation among the 100 different species represented. Commander Zethkar of the Vraxian Empire adjusted his forearms across his chest as he reviewed the personnel files on his datapad. His mandibles clicked in what his species considered amusement. Humans, he muttered to his aide, a tall, crystalline being whose name roughly translated to Sharp Echo. The Council actually wants to integrate human snipers into our elite long-range divisions. Sharp Echo's crystal facets shifted colors, displaying skepticism. Their application files seem impressive on paper, Commander. Some of their recorded distances exceed what we thought possible for a bipedal species, with basic optical enhancement. Zethkar's laugh was a harsh, grating sound. Impressive? Have you seen these creatures? They're tiny, fragile things with only 2 eyes and no natural armor. Their homeworld is a gravity well that would crush most civilized species, yet they waddle around on just 2 legs. He gestured dismissively with one of his secondary arms. Their so-called sniper rifles are primitive chemical propulsion weapons. No energy cores, no plasma acceleration, no quantum targeting matrices. Around them, other commanders were having similar conversations. The Korthak delegation, towering insectoid beings with compound eyes capable of seeing across 17 different spectrums, chittered among themselves about the absurdity of creatures limited to such narrow visual ranges. The Thessarian contingent, beings whose homeworld's low gravity had given them the ability to leap incredible distances and whose natural eye stalks could extend nearly a meter, wondered how humans could possibly compete without similar advantages. Their weapons don't even have the range of our standard infantry rifles, commented General Thessera of the Thessarian Defense Corps, her eye stalks swiveling to address the group. My troops can engage targets at 15,000 meters with standard pulse rifles. These humans claim effective ranges of barely 3,000 meters with their largest weapons. The meeting hall's central hologram activated, displaying tactical scenarios from recent conflicts across the galaxy. Commander Velthorn of the Aquatic Defense League, his gill slits fluttering with what his species used for laughter, pointed a webbed finger at the display. Look at this footage from the Kepler-7 engagement, he said, his voice carrying the wet, bubbling quality of his species. Our Vraxian snipers eliminated 73 enemy positions from distances exceeding 20,000 meters. Each shot was computer-guided, plasma-charged, and delivered with pinpoint accuracy through quantum-locked targeting systems. The display showed Vraxian soldiers, each weighing nearly 400 kilograms and standing 3 meters tall, wielding weapons that hummed with energy. Their 4 eyes could process multiple targeting solutions simultaneously, while their forearms allowed them to operate complex weapon systems that would require entire crews for other species. Now, Velthorn continued, switching the display, here's footage of human snipers from their recent application trials. The hologram showed 2 humans lying prone on a hillside. They looked impossibly small and vulnerable compared to the previous footage. Their weapons appeared crude, lacking the glowing energy signatures or complex targeting arrays of galactic standard equipment. The humans moved slowly, carefully, making minute adjustments to their positions and weapons. The gathered commanders watched in what could only be described as polite boredom as the humans engaged targets at a mere 2,000 meters. While accurate, the performance seemed pedestrian compared to galactic standards. Pathetic, grumbled Commander Nexatheta of the Silicon Guard, her rocky exterior grinding as she shifted position. My species can literally see through solid matter for several kilometers. These humans are shooting at targets they can barely perceive, using weapons that produce primitive kinetic energy. Sharp Echo's crystals dimmed thoughtfully. Commander Zethkar, there must be something we're missing. The Galactic Council rarely makes personnel recommendations without significant reasoning. Their preliminary evaluation showed these humans passing basic marksmanship tests. Zethkar's mandibles clicked again, though this time with less amusement and more irritation. Politics, my friend. The humans have been pushing for greater integration into galactic defense forces since their admission to the Council 3 cycles ago. This is probably some diplomatic concession to keep them feeling included. The conversation was interrupted by the arrival of Admiral Koreshta, Supreme Commander of Galactic Defense Forces. The ancient Etherean's energy form flickered between dimensions as he materialized at the front of the hall. His presence commanded immediate silence from all species present. Honored commanders, Admiral Koreshta's voice resonated directly in their minds rather than through sound. We gathered today to finalize integration protocols for our newest member species. The humans have requested assignment to long-range precision roles. A wave of barely suppressed amusement rippled through the assembled commanders. Several species had to suppress their natural laughter responses. Admiral, Commander Zethkar stood, his massive frame casting shadows across several smaller delegates. With respect, we've reviewed the human applications. While we appreciate their enthusiasm, perhaps they would be better suited to support roles. Their physical limitations and primitive technology seem poorly matched to elite sniper operations. Admiral Koreshta's energy form pulsed thoughtfully. Commander, I understand your concerns. However, the humans have specifically requested a demonstration opportunity. They claim their methods, while different, may prove effective alongside our standard approaches. General Thisara's eye stalks swiveled forward. A demonstration could be educational. Perhaps seeing Galactic standard sniper operations in action will help them understand the gap between their capabilities and ours. The suggestion met with general approval throughout the hall. Most commanders viewed it as an opportunity to diplomatically show the humans their limitations while maintaining interspecies relations. Very well, Admiral Koreshta concluded. We'll arrange a comprehensive evaluation. Our best snipers will demonstrate standard galactic procedures, followed by human demonstrations of their techniques. This will provide clear data for assignment decisions. As the meeting adjourned, Commander Zethkar gathered his files, already looking forward to what he assumed would be an amusing display of human inadequacy. Around him, other commanders made similar assumptions, planning to treat the upcoming demonstration as a training exercise for their own troops. None of them noticed the small notation in the human files that their preliminary tests had been conducted under standard Earth gravity conditions only. Nor did they pay attention to the footnote mentioning that the human applicants had specifically requested field conditions for their formal evaluation. As the Great Hall emptied, the stage was unknowingly set for a demonstration that would fundamentally change galactic understanding of what precision, patience, and human ingenuity could accomplish when properly applied. The transport ship carrying the human delegation descended through the atmosphere of Kepler Prime, the Galactic military's primary training facility. From the observation deck of the base's central command tower, Commander Zethkar watched the primitive chemical fuel vessel struggle against the planet's enhanced gravity field. They're having trouble with the atmospheric entry, Sharp Echo observed, his crystalline form reflecting the ship's heat signature. Most civilized vessels would use graviton compensators for such conditions. Zethkar's four eyes tracked the human ship's descent path. Typical. They probably don't even have inertial dampening systems. Watch them crash land in the designated zone. To their surprise, the human vessel touched down with remarkable precision, settling gently onto the landing pad despite its apparent technological limitations. The commander's mandibles clicked with grudging acknowledgement of basic piloting competence. The human delegation that emerged from the transport confirmed every prejudice the galactic commanders had formed. 6 humans total, each barely reaching 2 meters in height and weighing perhaps 80 kilograms. Their equipment looked like museum pieces compared to galactic standard gear. Instead of sleek energy weapons and advanced targeting systems, they carried what appeared to be metal tubes with primitive optical attachments. Leading the group was a human female who identified herself as Colonel Sarah Martinez. Her skin bore the weathered look of someone who had spent considerable time in harsh environments, and her gray-streaked hair was pulled back in a simple military style. Behind her walked 5 soldiers, each carrying cases that presumably contained their weapons and equipment. General Thisara's eye stalks extended curiously as she observed the human equipment. Colonel Martinez, we've prepared our finest demonstration range for today's evaluation. Our snipers will showcase galactic standard procedures before your team demonstrates your techniques. Colonel Martinez nodded politely. We appreciate the opportunity, General. My team has studied your preliminary specifications. We understand you've prepared targets at various ranges up to 25,000 meters. Commander Velthorn's gill slits fluttered with amusement. Colonel, I hope you understand that 25,000 meters represent standard engagement distances for our forces. Given your equipment limitations, we've also prepared closer targets at 5,000 meters for your demonstration. The human colonel's expression remained neutral, though something flickered briefly in her eyes. That's very considerate, Commander. Though if possible, we'd prefer to attempt the full-range targets. Our team has trained specifically for this evaluation. The assembled galactic commanders exchanged glances that their various species used to indicate polite skepticism. Several had to suppress natural laughter responses. Of course, Admiral Kureshta's voice resonated diplomatically in their minds. We believe in giving every species the opportunity to demonstrate their full capabilities. The demonstration began with Vraxian sniper Prime Gorthek, Zethkar's finest marksman. Standing 3 meters tall and weighing 400 kilograms, Gorthek was an impressive sight even by Vraxian standards. His 4 arms moved independently as he set up his weapon system, a sleek energy rifle that hummed with contained power. The target zone spread across a massive valley, with holographic enemies positioned at distances ranging from 5,000 to 25,000 meters. Environmental conditions included variable wind patterns, atmospheric distortions, and gravitational anomalies that would challenge any. Sniper Gorthek's 4 eyes processed multiple targeting solutions simultaneously while his quantum-locked targeting system painted laser designators on distant targets. His first shot, a crackling bolt of plasma energy, streaked across the valley and eliminated a target at 18,000 meters. The assembled commanders nodded approvingly. Excellent form, commented Commander Nextheta. Notice how his targeting computer automatically compensated for atmospheric distortion and gravitational variance. The demonstration continued with representatives from other species. Thessarian sniper elite Cassandra used her extendable eye stalks to engage targets while leaping between elevated positions, her low-gravity homeworld adaptation allowing incredible mobility. Silicon Guard heavy shooter, Metallics demonstrated shooting through solid barriers using his species' ability to perceive matter density variations. Each performance showcased the advantages of advanced galactic technology and evolved species capabilities, computer-guided shots, energy weapons that left no ballistic trail, targeting systems that could lock onto targets beyond visual range, and physical capabilities that exceeded human limitations by orders of magnitude. After 2 hours of demonstrations, Admiral Kureshta addressed the human delegation. Colonel Martinez, your species has observed our standard procedures. Would your team care to demonstrate human sniper techniques? Colonel Martinez stood and gestured to her soldiers. Certainly, Admiral. However, we'd like to request one modification to the demonstration conditions. Commander Zethkar's mandibles clicked with curiosity. What kind of modification, Colonel? We'd like to disable the target zone's computer systems, Martinez replied calmly. No electronic targeting aids, no computer-guided tracking, no technological assistance for any participants. Just natural ability and individual skill. The request caused a stir among the galactic commanders. General Thysera's eye stalks swiveled in confusion. Colonel, removing technological assistance would severely handicap our snipers. Modern warfare depends on integrated targeting systems. I understand, Martinez nodded, but this would allow us to demonstrate what humans call traditional fieldcraft. We believe it might provide valuable tactical insights for scenarios where technology fails or becomes unavailable. Commander Velthorn's gill slits rippled with what might have been concern. Without computer assistance, effective range would be dramatically reduced. Even our best snipers would struggle beyond 10,000 meters under such conditions. Colonel Martinez's expression remained professionally neutral. We are prepared to attempt targets at 25,000 meters regardless of technological limitations, if you'll permit the demonstration. The galactic commanders again exchanged skeptical glances. The idea of engaging targets at extreme range without technological assistance seemed not just difficult, but impossible to most species. However, the diplomatic value of allowing the humans to fail under their own requested conditions was too good to pass up. Very well, Admiral Kureshta decided. We'll reset the demonstration range with all technological aids disabled. This should provide an interesting comparison of natural versus enhanced capabilities. As technicians began powering down the range's computer systems, Commander Zethkar moved closer to observe the human preparations. What he saw only reinforced his preconceptions. The humans moved slowly and methodically, their primitive equipment requiring manual adjustments that Galactic standard weapons handled automatically. But there was something in their quiet confidence, the way they communicated with subtle gestures and seemed utterly untroubled by the technological handicap, that gave him a moment's pause. He dismissed the feeling as imagination, focusing instead on the entertainment value of watching the humans attempt the impossible with inadequate equipment. The stage was set for a demonstration that would challenge everything the galaxy thought it knew about the relationship between technology and skill. The atmosphere in the observation tower grew tense as technicians completed shutting down the range's technological systems. Targeting computers went dark, quantum locks disengaged, and the sophisticated environmental compensation algorithms that Galactic snipers relied upon ceased their constant calculations. For the first time in centuries, the Kepler Prime demonstration range operated on purely natural conditions. Commander Zethkar watched his finest sniper, Gorthek, examine his weapon with obvious confusion. Without the constant stream of data from his targeting computer, the massive Vraxian looked lost. His 4 eyes, evolved for processing multiple computer-generated targeting solutions, struggled to focus on distant targets using only natural vision. Sniper Prime, Zethkar called down to the range floor. Please engage the target at 15,000 meters. Gorthek raised his energy rifle, his forearms working independently to stabilize the weapon. Without computer guidance, he was forced to rely on his natural abilities to estimate range, wind speed, atmospheric conditions, and gravitational effects. His first shot, a bolt of crackling energy, streaked toward the target and missed by nearly 50 meters. A murmur of surprise rippled through the observation gallery. Sniper Prime Gorthek had never missed a target during previous demonstrations. Environmental conditions must be more challenging than usual, General Thyssara commented, though her eye stalks betrayed uncertainty as they tracked Gorthek's subsequent attempts. The Vraxian's second and third shots came closer, but still failed to hit the target. His species' reliance on technological enhancement had created a fundamental weakness in their natural shooting ability. Without computer assistance, even their elite snipers struggled with basic marksmanship at extended ranges. The Sarian sniper elite Cassandra fared little better. Her extendable eye stalks provided excellent visual range, but without targeting computers to calculate ballistic trajectories, her natural leaping ability became more hindrance than help. Each position change required recalculation of environmental factors, and her species had never developed the patient, methodical approach necessary for precision shooting without technological aid. Silicon Guard heavy shooter Metallics achieved the best results among the Galactic snipers, managing to hit targets at 8,000 meters through his natural ability to perceive matter density. However, his usual effective range of 20,000 meters proved impossible without computer assistance to compensate for his species' poor depth perception. After an hour of increasingly frustrating attempts, the Galactic snipers had achieved approximately 30% accuracy at ranges beyond 10,000 meters, with 0 successful engagements beyond 15,000 meters. The contrast with their earlier technologically assisted performance was stark and unsettling. Admiral Kureshta's energy form flickered with what might have been concern. Perhaps we should restore technological assistance for the remainder of the demonstration. If I may, Colonel Martinez interjected politely. We'd like to proceed with our demonstration under these same conditions. My team has prepared specifically for technology-free engagements. Commander Velthorn's gill slits rippled with barely contained amusement. Colonel, if our elite snipers struggle without technological assistance, surely your team's performance will be even more limited. Martinez nodded to her first sniper, Sergeant David Chen, who had been quietly observing the Galactic demonstrations. Chen was unremarkable by Galactic standards, a lean human of average height, carrying what appeared to be an antique rifle with basic optical attachment. Sergeant Chen will engage targets at various ranges, Martinez announced. We'll start at 20,000 meters and work our way out. The Galactic commanders exchanged glances that clearly communicated their expectation of failure. They had just witnessed their finest snipers struggle to hit targets at 15,000 meters. The idea that humans could succeed where superior species had failed seemed absurd. Chen moved to the firing position with unhurried confidence. He spent several minutes studying the range through his primitive optical scope, making notes on a paper pad with an actual writing implement. The galactic observers watched with fascination and amusement as he performed what appeared to be mathematical calculations by hand. Is he doing mathematics manually? Sharp Echo asked in amazement. Without computational assistance? Apparently, Zethkar replied. How primitive can their methods be? Chen adjusted his position with minute precision, making tiny changes to his rifle's angle and elevation. He seemed completely unbothered by the lack of technological assistance, treating it as a normal operating condition rather than a handicap. His first shot rang out across the valley, the sharp crack of chemical propulsion echoing off distant hills. The projectile, a simple metal bullet propelled by controlled explosives, streaked toward a target at 20,000 meters. The observation gallery erupted in shocked silence as the target registered a direct hit. Impossible. Commander Next Theta's rocky exterior ground with agitation. That range exceeds what our snipers achieved with full technological assistance during initial demonstrations. Chen's second shot hit a target at 22,000 meters. His third found its mark at 24,000 meters. Each shot was fired after a period of careful observation and manual calculation, with no technological aid beyond his basic optical scope. General Tysara's eye stalks extended to their maximum length as she stared at the human sniper. How is this possible? His visual system can't possibly resolve targets at that distance with clarity sufficient for accurate shooting. Colonel Martinez stepped forward to address the confused gallery. Sergeant Chen is demonstrating fundamental human sniper techniques developed over centuries of warfare. We call it reading the environment. Wind patterns, atmospheric conditions, bullet drop, target movement, environmental factors. Our snipers learn to process all of these variables naturally. Without technological assistance, Chen fired again, this time at a target positioned at 25,000 meters. The maximum range of the demonstration course. After a moment that seemed to stretch for hours, the target registered another direct hit. The Galactic commanders stared in stunned silence. A primitive human, using equipment that their species considered obsolete, had just achieved accuracy at ranges that their technologically superior snipers couldn't match even with computer assistance. There must be some error. Commander Zethkar's mandibles clicked rapidly with agitation. Range measurement, target registration. Something is malfunctioning. Admiral Koreshta's energy form pulsed as he verified the range systems. All measurements are accurate, Commander. The human has achieved 100% accuracy at ranges exceeding our best technological performance. Sergeant Chen looked up from his rifle, his expression calm and professional. Colonel Martinez, I'm ready for the next phase of the demonstration. Martinez nodded. Very well, Sergeant. Please engage the moving targets. The Galactic observers watched in growing amazement as Chen began engaging targets that moved unpredictably across the valley. Targets that their own snipers had found challenging even with predictive targeting computers fell one by one to the humans' carefully aimed shots. But Chen was only the first of 5 human snipers, and the demonstration was far from over. The galaxy's understanding of what constituted superior marksmanship was about to undergo a fundamental revision. Each human sniper represented decades of training in skills that galactic civilization had abandoned in favor of technological solutions. They were about to demonstrate that sometimes the oldest methods were also the most effective. The silence in the observation gallery stretched uncomfortably as the implications of Sergeant Chen's performance began to sink in. Commander Zethkar's forearms twitched nervously as he watched the human calmly clean his rifle, treating the impossible achievement as routine. Colonel Martinez. Admiral Koreshta's voice carried a note of cautious respect. Would your other snipers care to demonstrate additional techniques? Martinez gestured to her second team member. Corporal Sarah Williams specializes in adverse weather operations. Perhaps we could activate the range's environmental challenge systems. General Thusara's eye stalk swiveled with interest. Environmental challenges include variable wind patterns, atmospheric distortions, precipitation, and reduced visibility conditions. Even with technological assistance, these conditions limit our snipers' effective range significantly. Perfect conditions for demonstrating human adaptability, Martinez replied. The range's environmental systems activated, creating a swirling maze of wind patterns, artificial fog, and electromagnetic interference that would challenge any sniper. Visibility dropped to less than 50% at distances beyond 5,000 meters. Even the observation gallery's enhanced viewing system struggled to maintain clear sight lines to the distant targets. Corporal Williams, a stocky woman with sun-weathered skin and steady hands, approached the firing position carrying a rifle that looked even more primitive than Chen's. Her weapon lacked advanced optics entirely, featuring only basic iron sights that most galactic species would consider museum pieces. Impossible. Commander Velthorn's gill slits fluttered with agitation. She can't possibly engage targets beyond visual range using such primitive sighting systems. Williams began her demonstration by doing something that baffled the galactic observers. She pulled small objects from her equipment pouch and scattered them on the ground around her position. Closer inspection revealed them to be grass, leaves, and strips of cloth. What is she doing with that debris? Sharp Echo's crystal facets shifted to confused colors. Field expedient wind reading, Martinez explained. Human snipers learn to use everything in their environment to gather tactical information. Those materials will tell her wind direction and speed at her position. Combined with observation of environmental factors downrange, she can calculate wind effects across the entire bullet path. Williams spent 10 minutes studying the swirling fog and wind patterns, occasionally referring to a waterproof notebook covered in handwritten calculations. She seemed completely untroubled by the chaotic, environmental conditions that had forced the galactic snipers to reduce their effective engagement ranges by 70%. Her first shot cracked through the stormy air, the bullet's path invisible through the fog and interference. Several seconds later, a target at 18,000 meters registered a direct hit. Lucky shot, muttered Commander Nexus Theta, though her rocky exterior betrayed uncertainty. Williams' second shot hit a different target at 20,000 meters. Her third found its mark at 22,000 meters. Each shot was preceded by careful observation of environmental conditions and manual calculations that the galactic commanders were beginning to recognize as far more sophisticated than they had initially assumed. How is this possible? General Thisara's eye stalks extended to their maximum length as she stared at the human. Our targeting computers struggle to compensate for these environmental conditions. She's doing those calculations in her head. Williams looked up from her rifle, rainwater streaming from her equipment. Colonel, targets are clear. Request permission to engage the extreme range positions. Martinez nodded. Granted, Corporal. Show them what humans can do in real field conditions. The next 20 minutes redefined galactic understanding of marksmanship. Williams engaged targets at ranges up to 26,000 meters, achieving consistent accuracy despite environmental conditions that would challenge advanced targeting computers. Her primitive iron sights and manual calculations proved more effective than quantum-locked systems under adverse conditions. But the demonstration was far from over. Martinez called forward her third sniper, Staff Sergeant Marcus Thompson, a tall, lean man with the patient demeanor that the galactic commanders were beginning to recognize as characteristic of human snipers. Staff Sergeant Thompson specializes in extended duration operations, Martinez announced. He'll demonstrate human endurance and sustained accuracy over prolonged periods. Thompson's equipment differed from his teammates in subtle ways. His rifle bore additional modifications, and his gear included items the galactic observers didn't recognize. He moved to a different firing position and began what appeared to be an elaborate setup process. He's digging? Commander Zethkar's mandibles clicked with confusion as Thompson used a small shovel to modify his position. Field fortification, Martinez explained. Human snipers often operate for days or weeks in a single position. Thompson is preparing for a sustained engagement scenario. Thompson's preparations took nearly an hour. He constructed a carefully concealed firing position, arranged camouflage materials, set up multiple range cards with hand-calculated firing solutions, and organized his equipment for extended operations. The galactic observers watched with growing fascination as the human transformed a simple firing position into a sophisticated tactical installation using nothing but basic tools and environmental materials. When Thompson finally began engaging targets, his performance introduced new variables that stunned the galactic commanders. He fired from multiple positions within his small installation, engaging targets in rapid succession across the entire range spectrum. His accuracy remained consistent even as he maintained a sustained rate of fire that would challenge most species' physical endurance. Remarkable. Admiral Koreshta's energy form pulsed thoughtfully, His heart rate and breathing remained steady despite continuous exertion. Most species would show degraded performance after such sustained activity. Thompson continued his demonstration for 3 hours, engaging over 200 targets at ranges from 5,000 to 26,000 meters. His accuracy never dropped below 95%, and his physical condition showed no signs of degradation despite the sustained effort. Commander Velthorn's gill slits had stopped their amused fluttering. Colonel Martinez, this performance exceeds our understanding of biological limitations. How do your snipers maintain such consistency over extended periods? Training, discipline, and what we call muscle memory, Martinez replied. Human snipers spend years developing the physical and mental conditioning necessary for sustained operations. We don't rely on technology to maintain our performance standards. As Thompson completed his demonstration, the Galactic commanders began to realize they were witnessing something unprecedented. These humans weren't just achieving accuracy, comparable to technologically assisted shooting, they were exceeding it under conditions that challenged even advanced systems. But Martinez still had 2 more snipers ready to demonstrate additional capabilities that would further challenge Galactic preconceptions about human limitations. The revelation that Earth's primitive warriors possessed skills that surpassed galactic technology was only beginning to unfold. The most impressive demonstrations were yet to come, and each would force the galaxy to reconsider everything they thought they knew about the relationship between technology and human capability. The observation gallery had fallen into an uneasy quiet as the Galactic commanders struggled to process what they had witnessed. 3 human snipers had systematically dismantled every assumption about the limitations of primitive technology and basic biological capabilities. Commander Zethkar found himself unconsciously leaning forward, his previous amusement replaced by growing concern. Colonel Martinez, Admiral Koreshta's energy form flickered with what might have been respect. Your demonstrations have been enlightening. However, I notice your team still has 2 additional members. Martinez nodded toward her 4th sniper, a compact woman with graying hair and sharp, intelligent eyes. Master Sergeant Lisa Park specializes in what we call impossible shots. She handles scenarios that our military considers theoretically achievable, but practically impossible. The Galactic commanders exchanged glances that carried new weight. After witnessing the previous demonstrations, the term impossible from human lips carried implications they were no longer willing to dismiss. Park approached the firing line carrying equipment that looked different from her teammates. Her rifle was longer, more precisely manufactured, and bore modifications that suggested extreme specialization. She also carried a device that the Galactic observers couldn't identify. Master Sergeant Park will demonstrate shooting through environmental obstacles, Martinez announced. Targets will be positioned behind various barriers, including electromagnetic interference fields, gravitational distortion zones, and physical obstacles. General Tysara's eye stalk swiveled nervously. Colonel, shooting through gravitational distortion requires quantum-compensated targeting systems. The trajectory calculations alone exceed what most biological minds can process. Understood, Martinez replied calmly. Sergeant Park has trained specifically for such scenarios. The range technicians activated obstacle systems that created a hellish maze of interference between the firing position and distant targets. Electromagnetic fields that would scramble most targeting computers crackled across the valley. Gravitational distortion generators created zones where bullet trajectories would curve unpredictably. Physical barriers blocked direct lines of sight to many targets. Park spent 40 minutes studying the obstacle field, making notes in multiple notebooks and occasionally using her mysterious device. The Galactic commanders realized it was a weather station, measuring atmospheric conditions with primitive but precise instruments. She's treating this like a mathematical problem, Sharp Echo observed, his crystal facets shifting to amazed colors. Look at those calculations. She's manually computing gravitational effects, electromagnetic interference, and atmospheric distortion simultaneously. Park's first shot was aimed at what appeared to be empty air. The bullet curved through a gravitational distortion field, deflected around an electromagnetic barrier, and struck a target positioned behind 3 separate obstacles at 23,000 meters. The observation gallery erupted in shocked exclamations across a dozen different languages. Impossible, Commander Next Theta's rocky exterior ground with agitation. That trajectory required compensation for 3 separate interference sources. Our best computers struggle with such calculations. Park's second shot performed an even more complex path, threading through multiple gravitational fields and electromagnetic barriers to hit a target that wasn't visible from the firing position. She was shooting at targets she couldn't see, through obstacles that would challenge advanced technology, using nothing but manual calculations and an intuitive understanding of physics that bordered on supernatural. How? Commander Velthorn's gill slits had stopped functioning properly, his species equivalent of holding their breath. How is she calculating those trajectories? Experience, Martinez replied simply. Master Sergeant Park has been solving these problems for 25 years. She's developed an intuitive understanding of ballistics that exceeds what most computers can achieve. Park continued her demonstration for an hour, engaging 47 targets positioned behind various combinations of obstacles. Her accuracy rate remained above 90%, despite challenges that would defeat most technological solutions. She was demonstrating a mastery of physics and mathematics that challenged galactic understanding of biological limitations, but the final demonstration would prove the most unsettling of all. Martinez gestured to her last team member, a quiet man who had spent the entire day observing without comment. Chief Warrant Officer Michael Torres represents our most advanced sniper capabilities. He specializes in what we call extreme range precision. Torres approached the firing line carrying a rifle that looked like it belonged in a museum compared to galactic weapons. However, the galactic commanders had learned not to judge human equipment by appearance. His weapon bore the marks of careful maintenance and precision modification that spoke of decades of expert use. Chief Torres will demonstrate maximum effective range using standard human equipment, Martinez announced. We've identified targets at ranges up to 35,000 meters. The gallery fell silent. 35,000 meters exceeded the maximum range achieved by any galactic sniper during the earlier technological demonstrations. The idea that a human could engage targets at such distances using primitive equipment seemed to challenge fundamental laws of physics. Torres spent 2 hours preparing for his shots. He studied environmental conditions, made extensive calculations, and adjusted his equipment with microscopic precision. His preparation process was so methodical and thorough that even the alien observers found themselves fascinated by the sheer professionalism of his approach. His first shot was aimed at a target at 30,000 meters. The crack of his rifle echoed across the valley, followed by a silence that stretched for nearly 15 seconds before the distant target registered a hit. 30,000 meters. Admiral Koreshta's voice carried disbelief. With chemical propulsion and manual targeting, Torres' second shot hit a target at 32,000 meters. His third found its mark at 34,000 meters. Each shot pushed the boundaries of what the galactic commanders had believed possible for any species using any technology. But Torres wasn't finished. He made final adjustments to his rifle, studied his notes one last time, and prepared for what would become the shot that redefined galactic understanding of human capabilities. His final shot was aimed at the maximum range target, positioned at 35,000 meters on the far edge of the demonstration range. The bullet's flight time exceeded 20 seconds, during which the observation gallery remained in absolute silence. When the distant target registered a direct hit, the impact on galactic understanding was immediate and profound. 35,000 meters, General Thisara whispered, her eye stalks hanging limp with shock. Using equipment we considered obsolete and targeting methods we thought primitive. Commander Zethkar's mandibles had stopped clicking entirely. His forearms hung motionless as he stared at the human sniper, trying to process the implications of what he had witnessed. The demonstration was complete, but its impact was just beginning. 5 human snipers had systematically proven that Earth's supposedly primitive warriors possessed capabilities that exceeded galactic technology by significant margins. The galaxy's military hierarchy was about to undergo a fundamental revision. The observation gallery remained eerily quiet for several minutes after Chief Torres completed his final shot. The galactic commanders sat in stunned silence, their various species expressions of shock and disbelief creating a tableau of cognitive dissonance. Everything they thought they knew about marksmanship, technology, and biological limitations had been systematically dismantled by 5 humans with primitive equipment. Commander Zethkar was the first to break the silence, his massive frame shifting as he stood. His mandibles clicked slowly, a sign of deep thought rather than amusement. Colonel Martinez, I believe we need to discuss what we've just witnessed. Admiral Kureshta's energy form pulsed with complex patterns. Indeed, these demonstrations have revealed capabilities that challenge our fundamental understanding of sniper operations. General Thysera's eye stalks swiveled to focus on the human delegation. Colonel, with respect, what we've observed appears to contradict basic physics. How do your snipers achieve such accuracy without technological assistance? Colonel Martinez gestured to her team, who had been quietly cleaning and storing their equipment. Generals, what you've witnessed represents approximately 500 years of human warfare evolution. While other species developed technology to enhance their natural abilities, humans developed their natural abilities to exceed what technology could provide. Sharp Echo's crystal facets shifted through confused colors. Commander Zethkar, the mathematical calculations required for those shots should exceed biological processing capacity. How are they performing such complex computations manually? Torres, who had been silent throughout the day, finally spoke. Sir, if I may explain, we don't actually calculate every variable consciously. Human snipers develop what we call shooter's intuition over years of practice. We learn to feel the wind, read the environment, and make instinctive adjustments based on experience. Impossible. Commander Nextheta's rocky exterior ground with agitation. Intuition cannot compensate for gravitational distortion and electromagnetic interference. Master Sergeant Park stepped forward, her weathered face serious. Respectfully, sir, it's not just intuition. Human snipers undergo training that most species would consider extreme. We spend years learning to read environmental conditions, studying ballistics, and developing muscle memory. Every shot teaches us something new about our environment and our capabilities. Commander Velthorn's gill slits fluttered uncertainly. But the ranges you achieved exceed what our computers calculate as maximum effective distances for your weapons. The ballistic curves alone should make accuracy impossible at such ranges. Sergeant Chen joined the explanation. Sir, our weapons might seem primitive, but they're precisely manufactured and carefully maintained. We understand every aspect of our equipment's performance. More importantly, we understand our own limitations and train to exceed them. The Galactic commanders found themselves in the uncomfortable position of having their preconceptions completely reversed. Species that had considered themselves technologically and evolutionarily superior were confronting evidence that primitive humans had achieved capabilities they couldn't match, Admiral. Kureshta's voice carried new respect as he addressed the group. Colonel Martinez, these demonstrations have profound implications for galactic defense strategy. If human snipers can achieve such accuracy without technological dependence, they represent capabilities we hadn't considered. There's more, Martinez replied, causing visible unease among the alien commanders. What you've seen today represents basic human sniper capabilities. These 5 soldiers are competent professionals, but they're not our elite specialists. The revelation hit the observation gallery like a physical blow. If these demonstrations represented basic capabilities, the implications of truly elite human snipers became almost incomprehensible. General Thysera's eye stalks retracted partially, a defensive gesture among her species. Colonel, are you suggesting that more skilled human snipers exist? Many more, Martinez confirmed. Military snipers represent one branch of human marksmanship. We also have competitive shooters, hunters, and specialized law enforcement marksmen. Some of our civilian shooters achieve accuracy that exceeds military standards. Commander Zethkar's forearms twitched nervously. How many such individuals does Earth possess? Conservative estimates suggest over 50,000 humans with sniper-level capabilities, Martinez replied calmly. Perhaps 10,000 with skills exceeding what you've seen today. The number sent shockwaves through the galactic command structure. Most species possessed perhaps a few dozen elite snipers. The idea that Earth harbored tens of thousands of individuals with capabilities exceeding galactic technology created immediate strategic implications. Furthermore, Martinez continued, human sniper training takes place under Earth's gravity, which is approximately twice the galactic standard. Operating under reduced gravity conditions would significantly enhance our effective capabilities. Sharp Echo's crystal form flickered with alarm. Commander, that means their demonstrated accuracy represents performance under handicapped conditions. Admiral Koreshta's energy form pulsed rapidly. Colonel Martinez, we need to understand the full scope of human capabilities. These demonstrations suggest that our initial personnel assessments were inadequate. With respect, Admiral, Martinez replied, our initial applications were deliberately conservative. We wanted to demonstrate basic competency before revealing advanced capabilities. Earth's military doctrine emphasizes surprising potential enemies with hidden strengths rather than advertising them. The statement carried implications that chilled the galactic commanders. If humans had deliberately downplayed their capabilities during initial evaluations, what other surprises might Earth's military possess? Commander Velthorn's gill slits had stopped functioning entirely. Colonel, are you implying that Earth has been concealing military capabilities during integration negotiations? Not concealing, Martinez corrected gently. Simply not advertising. Human military philosophy emphasizes operational security. We reveal capabilities on a need-to-know basis. The observation gallery erupted in urgent conversations as commanders realized they needed to completely reassess their understanding of human military potential. Species that had viewed humans as primitive newcomers requiring guidance were confronting evidence that Earth possessed capabilities exceeding galactic standards, but the full implications of human sniper capabilities extended beyond mere marksmanship. These demonstrations revealed a species that had developed biological and mental capabilities to levels that challenged fundamental assumptions about the relationship between evolution and technology. The galaxy was about to discover that underestimating humans had been a dangerous mistake with consequences that would reshape interstellar military doctrine for generations to come. 6 months after the demonstration at Kepler Prime, the Galactic Defense Council convened for its quarterly strategic review. The same commanders who had once dismissed human capabilities now gathered around holographic displays showing deployment statistics that would have seemed impossible just months earlier. Admiral Koreshta's energy form pulsed with satisfaction as he addressed the assembly. The integration of human sniper specialists has exceeded all projections. Combat effectiveness in long-range precision operations has increased by 300% across all theater commands. Commander Zethkar, his massive frame more humble than before, gestured to his datapad. The Vraxian 7th Legion reports that their attached human sniper teams achieved mission objectives in scenarios where our previous methods failed entirely. The humans consistently engaged targets at ranges we considered impossible. The transformation in galactic military thinking had been swift and comprehensive. Human snipers were no longer viewed as primitive curiosities, but as elite specialists possessing capabilities that complemented and often exceeded technological solutions. Every major galactic military unit now competed to have human sniper teams assigned to their forces. General Thisara's eye stalks swiveled to address the assembly. The tactical implications extend beyond individual marksmanship. Human sniper teams operate independently for extended periods, gathering intelligence and eliminating high-value targets without technological support. This capability has revolutionized our special operations doctrine. The changes weren't limited to sniper operations. The demonstration had sparked a comprehensive review of human military capabilities across all specializations. Galactic commanders were discovering that species they had considered technologically primitive possessed skills that surpassed advanced systems in numerous fields. The psychological impact on enemy forces has been particularly notable, reported Commander Nex Theta, her rocky exterior shifting with what her species used to express grudging admiration. Opposition forces that could previously predict and counter our technological advantages find themselves facing unpredictable human capabilities they cannot compensate for. Sharp Echo's crystal facets displayed pleased colors as he shared additional data. Human training programs have been established on 17 worlds. Other species are attempting to learn human techniques, though none have achieved comparable results. Apparently, human neurological development and environmental adaptation create advantages that cannot be easily replicated. The irony wasn't lost on the galactic commanders, species that had evolved sophisticated technology to overcome biological limitations were now studying humans who had evolved their biological capabilities to exceed technological solutions. Commander Velthorn's gill slits rippled with what might have been amusement. The humans have also proven diplomatic in sharing their knowledge. They've offered training programs for other species, though they maintain that full human-level capability requires what they call generational development. Colonel Martinez, now bearing the insignia of Galactic Special Operations Integration Coordinator, had become one of the most respected figures in galactic military circles. Her quiet competence and the demonstrated capabilities of her species had earned Earth a position of influence that few species achieved within decades of joining galactic civilization. The most significant development, Admiral Kureshta continued, is the establishment of the Terran Training Academy. Earth has agreed to accept students from across the galaxy to study human military techniques. The waiting list currently extends 3 years. The Academy represented a complete reversal of galactic expectations. Instead of humans learning from superior galactic methods, other species were traveling to Earth to study techniques that primitive humans had developed through centuries of warfare. But perhaps the most profound change was in galactic understanding of what constituted technological advancement. The demonstration had revealed that true military capability didn't necessarily require sophisticated equipment, but rather the skillful application of knowledge, training, and natural ability. "We've learned an important lesson," General Thisara observed, her eye stalks focusing on the assembled commanders. Technological superiority doesn't automatically translate to tactical superiority. The humans developed capabilities that our technology couldn't replicate because they focused on maximizing biological potential rather than replacing it. The lesson extended beyond military applications. Human agricultural techniques, medical practices, and engineering solutions were being studied. Across the galaxy, a species discovered that Earth's apparently primitive methods often achieved results that exceeded advanced technological approaches. Commander Zethkar stood, his massive frame no longer intimidating but respectful. "I believe we owe the human delegation an apology. Our initial assessments were based on technological bias rather than tactical evaluation. We failed to recognize that different approaches to problem-solving could yield superior results." Admiral Kureshta's energy form flickered with approval. "Commander, I believe the humans have already forgiven our initial skepticism. They seem to prefer demonstrating capability through action rather than demanding recognition through words." The statement captured something essential about human nature that the galactic community was still learning to understand. Humans possessed a quiet confidence that didn't require external validation, combined with capabilities that consistently exceeded expectations. As the meeting concluded, the commanders dispersed to their various commands with new respect for the species they had once dismissed. Human sniper teams were deployed across the galaxy, their primitive equipment and ancient techniques proving superior to advanced technology in scenario after scenario. The laughter that had once greeted human applications to elite military units had been replaced by eager requests for human specialists. Earth's warriors, using equipment that galactic civilization considered obsolete, had become the most sought-after military assets in known space. But perhaps the most significant outcome was the broader recognition that human capabilities extended far beyond marksmanship. A species that could develop such extraordinary abilities in one field undoubtedly possessed hidden strengths in many others. The galaxy was beginning to understand that Earth's admission to galactic civilization hadn't brought in pupils requiring education, but teachers whose lessons were just beginning to be learned. The humans had stepped into the galaxy's crosshairs and emerged not as targets, but as the shooters that everyone wanted on their side. In demonstrating the superiority of skill over technology, they had earned something far more valuable than respect. They had earned fear from their enemies and desperate alliance requests from their friends. The galaxy would never again make the mistake of underestimating what humans could accomplish with primitive equipment, patient training, and the kind of quiet competence that turned impossible shots into routine demonstrations of human excellence.